What's up, guys? We'll start a little early tonight. How's everybody doing? Oh, I got a little tunes for you. I got my Texas cup tonight. My dad's from Texas, so I was told by some people that I'm a honorary third Texan. Not a real Texan, but I'm not as bad as a non-Texan. So we're going to be doing some film reviews tonight. Got 4 films for you guys. Got some good ones tonight, actually. Excited to get into that. We also are going to be kind of announcing a little giveaway tonight, and so you guys are going to want to hang out and just kind of pile in. What's up? We're going to be doing a giveaway tonight, so you want to hang around for the show because we are going to be doing something fun with secret codes. Is it too dark, by the way, on out there for you guys? Let me know how the exposure is. I can give it a little boost. I tend to like it. Let's see. Okay. This better? A little lift. Let me know. Kind of looks, that's probably a little better, right? Yeah, so we're going to get it. We're going to let everybody kind of pile in. But while we're kind of coming in, we had an interesting day. How do you guys just do commercial work? We got to do some really interesting commercial work today. We actually did like 360 images of these giant welders for photography. And then my sister is getting married on Saturday and here's what's cool, guys. We're actually doing our very first, probably one of our goals to do like 6. We're going to do about 6 wedding BTSs this year. Because we think that's what wedding film school is all about, is BTS videos. And we have a lot of them to shoot this year, so we figured we might as well cover it. But my sister's getting married. We're doing a little BTS, a solo BTS. I'm not shooting it. I'm in the wedding. I'm actually officiating the wedding, so that's pretty exciting. So my sister's getting married, so I went to a wedding rehearsal tonight. Now I'm freaking hanging out here with you guys, doing some film critiques. What are you guys doing tonight? What's everybody? Are you snacking? Are you drinking? What are you guys up to? Couple things. Tonight's show is brought to you guys by Yolobox. As you can see, I'm going to blink our sponsor. All right. Yolobox. This thing is a wonderful device. I'm going to even turn it on for you if I can. The battery life on this thing is crazy, by the way. But you got 2 HDMI inputs. You even have a USB that you can use it for like a USB camera if you wanted or something like that. HDMI output for like a program out, Ethernet, all the like one nice little 3.5-inch audio input. And this thing is great because not only will it record using the included SD slot, but it also has really, really, really convenient just connections to all the places you're going to want to watch a live stream. So if you're drinking water, nice. So edgy of you guys at Bottle Brush. The water drinking, but this is 4G and it works really well. So if you're looking to get into live streaming, check it out. You're gonna love it. Man, I love Aussies. I was talking to somebody today about Aussies. Love Aussies. We got one of my sister's bridesmaids is an Aussie. She's a wonderful girl, and so yeah, I'm drinking water too. Like I said, in my Texas cup. So we're going to get into films tonight, and we're just going to get right into it. And like I said, we are doing a giveaway in tonight's show, or actually an entry into a giveaway. So stay tuned. We got a little secret code giveaway thing that's going to be happening. But let me just make sure I'm doing the right film. What do you guys think about the BG music? Let me give you a little... I'm the worst dancer in the world, by the way. Like, I might be the actual worst dancer in the world. I think about being the worst at something a lot. And like, if you're the worst at something, does that mean you're really the best at something? Because like the best is just being the most. So like, I'm the most worst. I'm the best at being the worst. That's one way to look at it. Anyway, let's get into the films. So our first film tonight is brought to you by Joshua. Okay, I'm gonna butcher this. Stanchia. Maybe I get it right. I'm gonna drop the link actually for you guys because I really want to do a better job with that in these live streams. Is like letting you guys check these people's workout. Oh, really? Josh is the worst answer. I mean, prove it, bro. Submit that film next week. This is Josh, the work that he does. So this was a film. Let me just read the deets. Shot entirely on Blackmagic Pocket 6Ks and 4Ks. Recently purchased a Panasonic S5 to implement more handheld shots. Currently, see, he says he relies heavily on a gimbal. Saying you rely heavily on a gimbal shooting Blackmagic, it's still impressive because that thing is a pain. I mean, let me know. Are you using like a follow focus mode or something like that? That's a whole other skill. If you've never had to do it, it's a skill. So Written in Film is the name of his company. Drop the link down there for you guys to check out. This is a Blackmagic wedding. Man, I'm always going to be happy when I get to see a Blackmagic wedding. So here it is, guys. Here's the film. Let me know if this is too loud too, guys.
Molly, if you would have told me 10 plus years ago, after our not so successful first date, that we'd be standing here today, I would have told you were a crazy person. But the Lord works in mysterious ways, and I truly believe that it is a blessing from God that He put you into my life.
It's funny how time winds down. Things you lose come back around.
I did have a question about some of these overexposures. Because I've noticed it a couple times when I was looking at it ahead of time. Josh, was this B-Raw or is this ProRes? That's always interesting. I mean, especially for Blackmagic weddings, because if you don't know about RAW, and which most people don't, but if you don't know about RAW, RAW basically lets you change the camera sensor settings in post. And so it gives you a lot of control. And so if you overexpose a little, you can fix it. You have highlight recovery, basically the tools a photographer would have. I would say if you're doing Blackmagic, try to getting exposure, especially of the dress, perfect in post. This is a little more blown out than I'd like to see. You might like it. This is just my opinion, but definitely take advantage of that B-Raw. The Kodak, I don't think is that much bigger than a ProRes, so I think it's totally worth it.
And here you are again, my dear. Will you say the words I need to hear?
Dear Hank, where have you been my whole life? I remember asking you
I like
that
that
when
shot.
we were sitting on the
This
couch
is a
in my
nice
apartment
sequence.
last
Good
year.
lighting. Beautiful.
Your response? I've been right here the whole time, babe. And you're right. All this time, you've been right in front of me, but it took me, 15 years to recognize.
Some weird audio stuff there that I would say the ducking that's happening. I'm curious about that. It's kind of like, you hear the car, then it goes off, and it's like cutting. Me personally, when you're cutting like that, when you're cutting in audio and it's maybe not optimal, I would maybe actually, okay, I get that, by the way. So he's shooting in ProRes. He's not shooting in RAW. The reason is because you can't put B-Raw in Final Cut. I will say this, Josh, sometimes it's worth it to do a round of exposure adjustments in B-Raw and then render them all into ProRes and then dump them. You got to have a lot of storage. It's a little extra time, but it is a nice benefit if you have time and you want to put the time in. I was going to say, though, as a compliment, like when you see footage like this, if you're wondering, like, Why Blackmagic? The dynamic range that you're getting in a shot like this, absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's beautiful. The way it's falling off, the lights are falling off. You can't hope for better light than this either, but at the same time too, you really did a good job. I am curious about one thing though, and I'm gonna point it out now, and I want you to keep looking at it, Josh. You do something with the gimbal a lot that I'm wondering if it's intentional, if you'd like to do it a lot. If it's intentional, I might do it a little less because it's very noticeable. But if it's by accident, maybe you want to think about it. You right weight the subject on the right of the frame during gimbal stuff a lot. And you're going to notice like this frame over and over again. Like the film feels like it's leaning to the right side, and you're going to notice it a lot throughout the film. Beautiful though, really, really gorgeous. Like the fact that you were able and willing to take them out and take advantage of this is great. And if you're a new filmmaker, have the boldness to get a good shot. This is a good shot, and get people out there and get them in good light. And you did a great job there.
Took me 15 years to recognize.
Find ourselves back here again, same old spot where we began, but nothing's changed even my doubts, and I'm still trying to figure out.
Great motion there. A lot of motion in the whole film though. Bobby would not approve.
If you do, then just say so. Do you love me? Do you love me?
I did want to point out too, this is a very challenging lighting scenario during this ceremony. Really tough light, and you nailed it. This is the thing that drives me nuts, is like people don't expose the right thing. I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you this shot, because this is like a really, really, you had to make a big decision there, right? That blown out background versus this beautiful hair light and well exposed people. And I think you made the right decision. And if you're wondering, like, how do I make decisions about exposures? You know, exposures are just choices that you're making. You're not, if you're a new filmmaker, like, you're having to make decisions all day of what do I expose properly? Because your camera's pretty dumb. It doesn't know. It's just going to pick whatever. And so you did a great job. And like, if you're new, you're going, how do I make decisions? One of my biggest criticisms is you didn't expose the right thing. This looks great because what it's doing, first of all, these people, they look beautiful. Skin tones are really nice. Of course, you get this nice hair light too. And so great job. That's a tough lighting scenario because it's really hot, but I think you made the right call and it really helps the film a lot.
'Cause I need to know.
I've been searching for something that was missing in my life, and on St. Patrick's Day 2019, I finally found what I was looking for.
Ever since that moment, I haven't been able to get enough of you. To this day, I still can't believe you waited all these years for me, and I'm so glad that you did.
We've had some amazing times together, and although I know the good times will always outnumber the bad, we are sure to have some bumps along the road. I want you to know I will always be here for you.
Just a little thing for me. I would probably crop that in so it was actually centered. It seems like your just gimbal's kind of like always tilting a little, and you just want to like really kind of, when you're going to do pushes and pulls and stuff, like make sure you're actually centering it the way that you want. And I'm pushing you a little because you are a good shooter. If you're shooting Blackmagic, you're a good shooter. That's just, if you can pull it off, it's very challenging. And of course you have some beautiful stuff. You did great portrait work. So I'm going to push you a little and try to see how you can get a little bit better. That's awesome, Kyle. Kyle, if you don't mind, just bring that question up again at the end of the video, or put in a super chat if you guys want. And any super chats I'll definitely remember to get to, but if you're kind of doing it in the middle, I might forget. So just either throw a super chat on there and I'll get the super chats between each film, or just bring it up after the film and I'm glad to talk to you about that, Kyle. Anyway, yeah, but like, you know, you're kind of a little leaning and drifting with your gimbals. So, and that happens a lot in the film.
I promise to be right by your side during all of life's challenges. And most of all, I promise to love you and be grateful for you.
Beautiful. Oh,
I can't wait to see how the script of our story plays out. I promise to love you from this day until my last day.
it's gold.
I love you, Henry William Davis IV. I'm so very proud to call you my husband.
Do you love me? Do you love me?
Right.
If you do, then just say so.
I like that. That's
Do you
fun.
love me? Do you love me? Tell me 'cause I need to
So I don't mind this as much as Bobby does. But this is what I'll say. Really, first of all, this is very classic, very, very sellable, like very clean. Like I just think that a client will love this. You want to level up, maybe think about how you're using gimbal more. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, you don't use a gimbal. And I don't have rules about gimbal. I don't have rules about anything. Shoot, except exposures and light balance. I have rules about that. But in general, like, you know, once you get good, you can do things a lot of different ways. And so you can shoot a whole film on a gimbal. I really do think you can. But try to be a little more intentional, because you're kind of just drifting, right, left, right. And even some of your gimbal moves, if you're trying to do a parallax, like your subject's kind of drifting to the right, or that's my right. Drifting all around the frame, and you're kind of just like trying to catch up. It's, you know, just thinking, okay, I'm going to do this gimbal move, and this is what I'm trying to do, instead of just kind of aimlessly going back and forth and back and forth. You're a good camera operator, luckily, so it's good, but you don't want to get into that bad habit. You want to be very intentional with what you do. So, whoops. Great. So let's move on.
Do you love me? If you do, then just say so. Do you love
I wish I didn't have to shoot cakes. That's just my editorial. I hate shooting cakes.
Tell me 'cause I need to know. Tell me 'cause I need to know. Tell me 'cause I need to know.
Really nice. Okay, here's my opinion about that logo. Don't love it. That's my opinion. 200%, by the way. Not something you just should take to the bank. But I don't think clients will care, though. So okay, let's just talk about the film. Here's how we like to do our reviews. We like to really talk about the film in a couple ways. Really, cinematography, editing, story, and of course we try to talk about audio, but it's a little challenging. But this is really, really good. Yeah. So, hey, be nice, Curry. Be nice. Like I said, if you guys have comments, you want to drop a super chat, I will definitely get to them. If you have questions that are specific, if you don't, I probably won't, because they're way up in the chat already, and I can't really find them. Anyway, really good film. The deal is, like, at the end of the day, we're trying to sell wedding films, and so we're not trying to sell them to each other. So to be honest, like with my own films, like I kind of care what wedding filmmakers think, but I kind of don't care what any wedding filmmakers think about my film, as long as I'm selling them. And so let's just keep that in mind. But we are here to get better. And so first and foremost, this is very sellable and product that anybody would want. I think you're going to do really well. I'm sure you're doing really well already. The price on this was $2,500. And so I don't know your market. Maybe that's like a really good entry point. Maybe, if you don't mind answering, like, I don't think it's in there. Where are you shooting out of? Where are you? You're in the States, I think. So where in the States? And is $2,500 like a would you say a starting price, like in your area, an average price, or what it is? Just keep in mind, guys, nationally, $2,500 will put you in the top, probably at least 15% of filmmakers, 15 to 20% in your area, most likely. Chances are, you listen to our podcast, you will know that. Most wedding filmmakers are not charging that much more. There's just a lot of the Craigslist people starting out. We have nothing against those folks, but there are a lot of people, and a lot of couples maybe aren't totally on to wedding films. So we haven't hit critical mass. We're not all charging, despite what anyone will tell you. The average wedding filmmaker is not charging $5,000. And not every market can support it yet. It will be. That being said, this could be much, much more than $2,500. So just keep that in mind. I don't know the market, but that's my opinion. It could be more. It's very clean. So let's just go through a couple of things. Cinematography. You're doing the things that I care about the most correctly. You're doing the stuff that is actually people really like suck at that when they're first starting. Like, I mean, this shot right here, or this sequence right here, would be the best sequence some people ever shot. You know, because of the lighting and just, you know, what you're doing and adjusting and stuff. It's really beautiful. And so you did a lot of stuff in a lot of scenarios that were actually really, really tough. And so I want to just give you those props because I think it's really, okay, Panhandle in Florida. Yeah, that's probably not, you're probably a little underpriced, but probably not crazy underpriced. But you could definitely get up there. So just keep on keeping on. You got good work. You got something to build on. I'm assuming your style is more classic too. And so in terms of, there are a lot of couples like this out there. So keep that in mind. So if people tell you like, you got to get more energy, you got to get, well, no, I mean, there's a lot of classic brides who want a romantic, personal, cute wedding film. And this is, I mean, there's a lot of great portrait work in here, a lot of great prompts, and a lot of great camera moves. Like I said, the one cinematography I'll point out is lack of intentionality on your gimbal. I don't want to say you did too much gimbal, but I will say you didn't always do it as well as you could. And the question is, can you do that much gimbal perfectly? If you're on the gimbal all day, much more likely are you willing or able to maybe make a mistake? Gimbal is challenging. And so the more you do it, the more likely you are to have maybe a shot that's not as useful. Maybe giving yourself a safety shot that's good, like a really solid B shot, maybe would help, but also just think through what you're going to do with that gimbal if possible. And you're not like, I didn't nail that one. Maybe don't include it in the film so it looks a little cleaner, a little more refined. Story-wise, I don't know, man. Like, I always say this about wedding films. It's like people are like, it's all about story. It's all about story. We need to tell stories. And I'm like, well, I mean, the story is these people got married today. That's the story. So in terms of story, you told the story that people got married and I got the message. The audio is what most people mean. What most people mean when they say it's all about story is you got to include audio. I don't actually agree with that. I don't think you have to include audio. I've seen plenty of music videos that I was like, I felt something. I do think you need to understand the couple when you're watching a film. And I think I got their vibes, man. I got their vibes. I like the audio you included. You did a good job with that. The only thing I'll say about the audio is when you're ducking the way you are, which is like cutting in and out of an audio, I'm assuming you kind of chopped it up. You took the parts you liked, you cut them out. Having a little bit of room sound to cover over so it's not going blah, 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 shh, cut, blah, 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 shh, and you hear like the background noise and stuff. Just covering it so that your transitions feel smooth. Even when you're cutting between people in your editing, just giving yourself room sound in the background. I mean, not room sound, ambient sound. Giving yourself a little ambient sound coverage when you're transitioning audio will help you kind of with the immersion. So you don't get sucked out like when you just hear cut. Like, so I would encourage you to look at that and make that a little bit of an adjustment. The editing was good. I don't really have much to say. It's nothing that I would say is groundbreaking, but I would say you can sell 30 of these a year. Couples love this stuff. They love it. They like this classic, very, very straightforward, chronological wedding film. You did a good job. You showed all the good parts. Transitions were nice. It was tight. It was good. I liked it. I don't have anything bad to say about the editing. Yeah, I mean, it was very good. So, I mean, I think it's really, really good. There's some like minor things you might want to level up on in terms of like how you're using the gimbal. And the only thing I'll say about your shot selection that I always want to make sure, like, this was great. I always want to, like, a person during the portrait session, get in there a little bit. Get in there. Dance stuff, get in there a little bit. Okay, there you are, Kyle. So I'll answer that question. But it was really good. And so I want you to be encouraged. I really do want you to look at your market. If you we're about to do a podcast about market research. I want you to go listen to that, Josh, and really kind of take that stuff into heart. We're doing this series called Your Business Plan Sucks, and it's all about building a business plan for wedding filmmakers. We also have a bunch of downloads. If you head on over to weddingfilm.school, I'm going to paste the link in there for anybody who's interested, because we have a bunch of downloads that are designed for wedding filmmakers. For those that don't know, Jared and I run a company called Stop Go Love. We also shoot for a company called Huxley Film. We also run a wedding film company called Merriment Films. They're all targeted at different markets, and they have some are team-based, some are Jared and I just shooting. But we, over the years of 10 years of doing wedding films, we've kind of learned a little bit. Currently, right now, we shoot with Stop Go Love. We have about 160 weddings this year. And with Merriment Films, we have much less because that's a more boutique brand. That's how we want to sell it. But I'll tell you this, we've learned a lot about the market. And so when you're looking at this and you're going, oh, that should be $5,000. Like, it could be. It's good enough to be $5,000. I can't say it should be in that market. So I want you to go listen, check it out. And definitely there's another great site called, I'm not going to say it right, but it's a website called The Wedding Report, and they give you all kinds of information about your market. But if you want to download some of that stuff, weddingfilm.school/resources. We're going to move on to the next film, but I'm going to answer this question by Kyle. It says, what should my approach be on color? Should I shoot on log, neutral? I'm just starting out, and I shoot on a Canon RP. Last week, I shot on a flat color profile. What should I use professional LUTs? Okay, there's a lot of questions there. Kyle, how are you doing? Okay, write a little response. Say, I heard you. Just so we can know we're in a dialogue now. So let's talk about this. Actually, I'd love to hear from the room. How many of you guys would say you shoot on let's say log. How many guys would say you shoot log profile, some kind of log? How many of you say, no, you shoot something different? If you shoot log, just kind of say, I do. Let's see how many of us shoot log. My answer is this: sometimes. That's my answer. Sometimes. When we shoot Blackmagic, Huxley Film weddings, we shoot on a log profile. When we shoot all our other films, we don't shoot log. I don't. You know why? Because I value my time, and my customer doesn't care if it's log, and I can nail my exposure and my color in camera because I'm good. And my expectation is others can also do it. So there's nothing wrong with shooting log. There's also, let's be honest, it's trendy. It's kind of a wedding filmmaker flex. You don't have to do it, Kyle. Here's what I would tell you. At this stage in your career, getting into it, don't shoot log. Find something that looks good in camera. Shoot something that looks good in camera and focus on a bunch of other things. Focus on your storytelling. Focus on interacting with clients. Focus on your camera, like just, your cinematography. Thinking about log color, literally, you have to expose log different than you expose other things. Like, what you want to do originally is when you're first starting out, you want to just say, you want to look at your camera and go, this is exposed right. I'm good to go. And then shoot with confidence and shoot beautiful stuff. That's my advice to you. My advice to you is no, don't shoot log. I just tell people that all the time. New filmmakers, don't shoot log. If you are like, hey, I know what I'm doing. By the way, you don't have to do what I'm saying. Do whatever you want. But log is like, if you have a vision for what you want your color to be, and you don't want your camera superimposing its own ideas, or you want a little more dynamic range, all those things, if you have these desires, shoot log. It's great. But if you don't even know what Rec 709 color is and you don't know anything about coloring, I wouldn't want to insert that. Like, make your editing tight, get all that stuff. So that's my advice. If it's good advice, okay. If it's bad advice, yes, you should use professional LUTs, and there are a lot of beautiful ones. I would recommend checking out Gamut, which is ran by the wonderful people over at White and Reverie. Kaylin Rome does a bunch of incredible LUTs. Make sure that it is designed to fit on the profile that you're shooting on. That's the one thing I'll tell you. LUTs are not designed to just be slapped on things. My opinion still is, like, if you are not comfortable with color correcting, it's totally fine to just shoot something beautiful on your camera and leave it. We've done that for years, guys. Like, the vast majority of our films at Stop Go Love have no LUT. We put like a little bit of film convert on it. We turn and we get the color out too. So we don't even use the color in film convert. We just use a little bit of grain on film convert, clean up the exposures and the white balance, and that's it. We call it a day. We shoot our Canons, we leave it alone. So that's my advice. All right, let's look at another film, guys. How about that? Let's move on. I want to make sure I'm getting the right one. One of them I messed up. So this is not it. I got it. I mean, this is kind of fun. You flew it in the snow, you daring person. Also, that's dope. Wait, I forgot to say who this is. This is Max from Motion Videography. He's one of our members. If you are wanting to become a member, go ahead and hit the membership button. Membership has a bunch of perks in YouTube. We love our members. Actually, we're going to be doing some private member hangouts coming up in probably maybe next week, but probably definitely by the next week, we're going to be doing some private member hangs, doing just filmmaker and mentorships, things like that. So if you want to get involved in our members community, you get first dibs on a bunch of our submissions, and then you get to join some of the private member stuff. And then we're also going to be doing some private members only content drops coming up in the next couple, maybe month, and then we're going to improve that. We want to improve that program. So if you want to be a member, join the membership. I think it's a really, really great thing. So Max says this is his first wedding of 2021. He said he's not happy about it. He didn't like the photographer that he was dealing with. Common issue. So if we feel your pain. We've all had that photographer. It looked like more of a baseball. I don't even know what this is. Looked more like baseball photography with all the shutter and flash. Oh, that's bad. So this is where I'll disagree with you. I was reading your comments. We had an ugly snowy day. I personally think the snowy day is dope and awesome, and I wish a lot of days were like that. So anyway, let's just check out our film. And yeah, so this is from Max, and I'm going to drop his link also in the... like I said, I want to get better at giving you guys the links because I want you guys to be able to check out people's work because that's what it's all about. Support each other, follow each other on Instagram, do all that thing. Here we go. Nice little motion there on that one. I will say the overlay of the couple coming up, it just feels weird. I particularly don't like how magenta his skin tones are kicking there. But that's dope right there. What are those animals? So that audio transition was rough, Max. You gotta do better. It was rough. It's just like blah, blah, blah. People are just talking. Try to smooth that out in the future. And I personally I like a little bit of ambient audio. That to me is ambient audio. If she's about to say something significant that matters, I don't know if I would use that cut. I don't know. As ambience, okay. As primary audio, no. It feels loud to me. It feels like it's being used as like primary, like the primary sound bed. So. Yeah, I don't love that.
Trying to think if Brian would like me to read it out loud. Probably not. Okay, so I'm gonna.
I thought you were gonna have her do it anyway. So I want to show you just the cast that's happening here. This, I'll always tell you guys this. Every time I see it, I'm gonna point it out. My opinion here, you should have turned off whatever those yellow lights are. Especially, you got snow. Snow has bounce. Snow has a blue bounce. So this bounce coming from the window is blue bounce. And it's cloudy, so the light. So you got this blue, blue, blue. And so whatever you did to the color, it's a little bit of a green tint. And then you also have this very, very, very orange light. Like, trying to simplify your lighting scheme, guys, is really one of the things I most tell you. Is like, if trying to get an even exposure, a consistent white balance throughout your thing. And so that means maybe eliminating artificial light sources that are just too strong. And like the orange on the, what is that, the left side of her face, too strong. I would have really, especially when it's very unflattering to have that green highlight and that orange magenta. You want to get that skin tone really beautiful. And maybe you could have fixed it in post, by the way. I'm not sure. But I do know, having worked with blue bounce out of windows, and especially at this time of day, that it does make it extra tough when you have ugly orange, either tungsten or fluorescent lights. So either saying to people like, hey, this is a really important moment. Can we turn off the lights? And just getting beautiful, beautiful bounce, and then, you know, white balancing for that. But you basically have totally opposite colors happening here. And so, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I love the color of his box.
You gotta fix my tie.
Put it straight on the front. There it goes. High five.
That was a much better audio transition, by the way.
I got more than just words.
This, and you're just dealing with this ugly light, but like, I just want to kind of, not to drive it in, but like, that ugly orange light in the background is hideous looking. It's not nice. And I would have turned it off. Because I could see if that's window bounce or whatever, like, natural light just looks better. The more you can get rid of ugly light and use natural light, the better. I don't know the situation you're in either. Maybe you're in a tough situation, but also to me, this is just a little too shallow. Like, I don't like that I see one kid's in focus and the other kid's out of focus.
I got more than just words. You bring me songs sweet like the birds. So I got more than just words.
I just made a non-cuffling shirt into a cuffling shirt, that's all.
Look at that.
Just look.
I got peace in my mind. I got peace in my mind. Knowing that we've got the ties that bind gives me peace in my mind.
That's a nice shot.
The lights are so much.
Can I ask a question about this shot? Oh, I was looking at it, and Max, if you're here, I'd love to hear from you. What's up? So my question is, if you're going to go through the effort of getting a bride to pose like this, which I like the idea, even if she did it a little weird, and I think you're a little too tight. You're cutting her chin off, which I don't like. But it's a nice idea, good shot. My opinion, you should make those people move. Curry, I actually don't care if windows are overexposed that much. Depends. It totally depends. It's not a rule I have. I might not feature them as prevalently. Like, I wouldn't just shoot into them, but like, if it depends on, it depends. I don't have a big rule about it. I want people to be exposed well. That is what I care about. People and skin tones. That is, if you want a beautiful film, people, skin tones. Don't worry about the other stuff. But nail your people, nail your skin tones. But being intentional. Right here, you have this nice pose moment, motion, and it's beautiful. But then you have these people in the background that, to me, it's just distracting, especially when you see she's going to do the classic bride look up thing. And these people are just being goofy and distracting.
So much deeper.
Those greens are really weird looking.
I got joy in my soul.
So I'm assuming they were cold. I'm also assuming that he's just a reddish kind of guy. So I want to give you one tip. Just when you're shooting people with really red skin in the cold, you do want to try to downplay the magenta, because it can, especially as you're putting it in like your compressed color world, like the internet, on people's phones and whatnot, it makes them look like red, red, red. And so you want to downplay that. So I just keep in mind, like when you're shooting people who are cold and they're getting really red, you want to be considering that. I might have tweaked that a little in post where I could maybe pull some of that red out of his skin.
Oh, I got joy in my soul. The fact that you're half of what's making me whole.
So red.
Puts a little joy.
Yeah, stop it.
I got love in my heart. I got love in my heart.
Let's go.
Promise that no man can tear us apart. Puts a lot of love in my heart. The lights are so much
So
brighter.
something I notice a lot, I don't like that ceiling. I don't want to see that dumb ceiling. It's ugly. So I just think maybe not like when you're shooting into drop ceilings, like try to downplay that it's a drop ceiling. Nobody ever goes like, this is just an overall tip, guys. Everyone wants to look beautiful. They also want to look successful. They want to look rich. They want to feel like they picked a great venue, all these things. They don't want the things about their venue that are unflattering to be highlighted in their film. The fact that I got this big air vent behind this guy's head, I wouldn't have shot it that way because the drop ceiling, it's not elegant. Nobody loves a drop ceiling. So just not featuring things that are unflattering, even if it's not on the person, if it's in the venue. Like, I'll say the same thing when I see like a dumpster. I don't want to see a dumpster in your film. I don't want to see a single dumpster. Unless, I don't know, there's some hip people who are doing something with a dumpster. But no dumpsters, no drop ceilings. Like, try to hide things that aren't elegant and beautiful. This can be challenging. You can't always do it. But if you can, awesome.
Today, you are making a lifelong commitment to share the rest of your lives with each other and to honor your children as well. It is my honor and delight to pronounce you husband and wife. Congratulations, you may kiss.
That was very egalitarian of them to not say kiss the bride. I'm going to point out roaming gimbal, and that's what we'll call it on the show. Roaming gimbal, when a gimbal's just gimbaling. And it's not really pointing to anything, and it's just, yeah, Mick Quinto, I don't want to mess your name up. What at a wedding, though? I was going to say, what wedding? Like, there's a lot of things you do at a wedding, some on a gimbal, some tight, some this, so be very specific. What shot are you talking about? So this is what I would call roaming gimbal, where it's just kind of, what am I looking at? What's the focus? What is that? Are we just... To me, that shot doesn't do much for me. I don't like gimbal stuff like that. And this shot also. What are we looking at? It's going to transition to something, but like... kind of like where your framing is, all that. Yeah, there's a lot of very magenta skin tones in the film. Okay. First of all, great idea. Second of all, lot to like here. Third of all, we bring up unflattering. Blacktop. Nobody wants to see blacktop. Let's go back to the beginning of this frame. You have a solid 30-40% of the bottom of the frame. Hey, Mick Quinto, I will I'll answer it at the end. I don't want to miss it, but the bottom of that frame, a lot of blacktop. I would have gotten lower. I would have made sure maybe line up the bottom of that frame just below her dress, and I would have tried to get it so I could see that roof line. And really, like, you want to accentuate the snow, accentuate the winter wonderland that they're in. You don't want to see like a parking lot. You know what I'm saying? And I would say that, but it's great. So in terms of this film, I got a lot of good stuff to say. I got some bad stuff to say. So let's just get into it. First and foremost, I understand why you're upset. It isn't an ideal situation for a wedding. It looks like you didn't have a lot of control. I like your details. Like, I like where you were headed. Like, I thought this film was going to be so different based on the way that you started out up here. In terms of so I'm going to do story first, and then we'll talk about cinematography, and we'll talk about editing. The story of this film is what I found a little off-putting, in the sense that, like, I thought we were going to go into, like, really leaning into the snow. If you ever saw White and Reveries, they had a hot springs wedding in Montana or whatever. You know, that Dunton Hot Springs place. I thought we were going to go in that direction and venture elopement, leaning into just this winter wonderland thing. And I felt like the film was actually fighting against the setting. So like, I wanted to be in the snow. I wanted to experience this. And I felt like we were going to go there, like the first few seconds of the film. But then it quickly became a lot, like, even that shot, great shot. You get, like, it really had a strong beginning. I could tell, though, this is where we're human beings, guys. We're human beings. So I'm going to give you just a pep talk motion, because I know how this feels. You were not happy with a lot about this, you know? And so, like, I could tell you were like, man, this sucks. I didn't feel good about it. I don't like it. And so, like, instead of thinking about, like, what am I doing with this day? How do I make it as good as possible? You know, and maybe I'm projecting here. Maybe I'm just guessing. But it felt like you were like, this is bad. There's no way I can make it good. You would have had to decide right at the beginning of the day, this is exactly what I'm going to make this film. And this is exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm going to take them into the snow. I'm going to do this. And so you have, like, snow here. And then at the end, you got this beautiful snowy setting, you know. And so story-wise, I wanted to feel like I was in the snow and all this. I'm not sure you could have done it. That's just, if you could have in the future, what I'll say is this. Lean into whatever's going on. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to make it something it's not. Lean into it. See if the couple will be cool. Have fun. Get them to lean into it. Get people laid back. That's our job, guys. So that's my little story rant. I think the story could have been more organic, and because the actual, like, they were in a hotel. It was cold outside, so they didn't want to spend a lot of time out there. So we only spent a few minutes in the portrait session, but mostly we're in terrible light. That's not a great story. Luckily, I mean, these people seem cool, seem like they enjoyed each other, so that's good too. Okay, so that's the story thing. Cinematography, I think I'm just always going to rail on bad white balances and mint exposures. And, like, there's just a lot of these white balances where I'm like, this is not flattering. and I didn't like it. So that's one thing to work on, is just working on your white balance, especially in challenging situations. Maybe you actually have to work on actually just having conversations with people to get what you want. And I will say this, some things are cinematography, but the line between good cinematography and just good communication is very thin. So if you're the type of person that's like, you're a little shy, maybe you don't want to, like, how do you find a way to, in your own style, ask for what you want from the couple, by the way? Not, you know, I do think working with the photographer, the best of your ability, trying to get what you want out of them, great. But asking for what you want, saying like, hey, can we turn these lights off? Can we do this? Can we bring you here? Can we bring you there? That affects your cinematography. And affects the shots you get. I like the detail stuff. You did a lot of, and I think you got all the moments too. Like, we don't say this enough on the show. Getting the moments, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't freaking matter what I say about this or even what you think about the film you made. This couple is going to watch this and they're going to go, oh, you got this, you got that. Like, you did your job. They are going to be happy. I'm assuming that they're happy with this and that they like it. You know, and you got a little of that artistic stuff. I think you did, like, you clearly tried and you gave it a good effort. But I would just say the stuff I mentioned during there, the white balances, some of the little aimless gimbaling, but other than that, it was good. You did a great job. And I could tell that the scenario was challenging for you. And so I feel for you there. I get it. That's tough stuff. So in terms of the editing, there's a lot of jump cuts that I wasn't crazy about. I mentioned some of the way that your audio was panning in and out where it was very unflattering, trying to work on that, getting it to be a little bit more cleaner and just like not having it so just cutting in, cutting out, things like that really matter. And I think, I don't know if you could have done this, but I would have liked to see during your dance stuff a lens that was longer and the cutting between that. That's maybe cinematography plus editing, because I felt like you were just kind of standing in one or two places, moving a little bit with like a really wide lens. And this is what I'll say in general. Let's talk COVID weddings, guys. COVID weddings, which probably you're going to still have a lot more of those these years or this year. You have to think of what this dance floor is going to be terrible. I'm not going to be able to shoot the way I normally shoot. It's not going to have the energy. I'm not going to be able to get as much. So either you have to hide how terrible it is by using a long lens or really getting in there, which maybe people don't want. So I think a lot of you guys need to consider shooting with a longer lens during portraits or during dance stuff this year. Or you need to say, this dance stuff is going to suck. I need additional content for my edit. I need to put a portrait session that I use during the dance footage. Like, thinking ahead on your wedding day based on how it's going to be and shooting for your edit is really a good tip I would think about. Obviously, takes a lot of knowledge, experience, all that. In terms of your sound design, though, I mean, I think you used a lot of stuff. You tried using some ambient audio, things like that. There are times where I think people put ambient audio in. It's a little harsh, a little loud on a cheap microphone, stuff like that. And I do think there are times where, like, you brought in the ambient audio and it was just a little too overpowering. A little too overpowering. Or kind of random, like they were outside during their first look, and like it was just kind of like they were like, hey, oh, haha. And they were just like, I was like, oh, why is it? I thought they were going to say something when I was listening to it, and then they just didn't. They just kind of like didn't say anything. So just kind of getting that ambient audio to be a little more intentional or a little more low key. That's it, though. I think it was really great. And I think you did a great job, and I think your couple probably is psyched. I think your coloring can get a lot better, and it will get better because you're going to be awesome. You're a good filmmaker. And you're going to have an awesome season. So don't be discouraged. Keep it up. Anyway, I'm going to say we got Yolobox. I just dropped a link up there. I'm going to drop it again. It's brought to you by Yolobox. Hey, here's the thing, guys. We do this largely for free. And we're glad to do this for free. But if you want to help out the channel, you can drop super chats. You become a member. You can also click on our links and buy stuff. Yolobox is a great product. We're going to be talking about a new firmware update that they did. We're working on a really cool giveaway with Yolobox in a little bit. Great product. Definitely check it out if you want to get into live streaming. It's the easiest way, I think. And live streaming, as many of you know, can be very, very challenging. So when that product came out, I was like, oh, heck yeah. Easy live streaming. Love it. The other thing I was going to say was, Yeah, no, snow footage is cool. The other thing I was going to say is this. We're going to do something fun tonight. Any of you guys that are here hanging out, you know, you should tell some people to join, by the way. And what I will say, too, is go ahead and hit that like button. It helps us a lot. If you're watching the video, go ahead and hit the like button. It means a lot to us. But I was going to say this. If you are here, we're going to do something fun. We are going to send you guys a secret code because we're going to be doing a giveaway next week, and you're going to get an extra entry into this giveaway. We're going to be giving away a LARC 150, which is a really, really great wireless mic. And so if you want to get an extra entry into this contest, you're going to go onto this, you're going to fill out a form, and you're going to get an email that's going to give you an extra entry into this contest where you're going to, in a week. So keep the email because you're going to be able to go in there and enter this in, and you're going to get the points for this extra entry. This is a secret code for our LARC 150 giveaway that we're going to be doing on our Facebook group. But you guys are getting a special secret code, an extra entry into the contest by watching the live stream. We're going to be doing stuff like this pretty often. So for those of you that are going to be hanging out with us on the live stream, you're going to get extra little stuff for hanging out. And this is one of them. You're going to get an extra entry to enter to win a LARC 150 wireless lavalier microphone system. Very, very cool. So if you need one of those, here's a chance to get a free one. We're also got a really cool giveaway we're working on with a bunch of awesome people. Aperture, Rode, Yolobox, Small Rig, a bunch of really incredible companies that we're going to be doing I would say a really over-the-top giveaway. So you want to be hanging out with the channel, subscribing. We're going to be having all kinds of like secret codes that you can get and just building it up. And it's going to be we're really excited about it. All right. This next film that we are going to be looking at is from Emily Chowing. Now, I will always say this, guys. We got to give it up for our female filmmakers. There's a lot of them out there. Unfortunately, we don't often get to see that. But I want to always call out female filmmakers as being important to what we do. And I want to see more of you guys. And so I will always go out of my way to feature and show off great ladies making awesome films. So that being said, let's check it out. Actually, let me tell you about our company, Emily Chowing Photo and Film. And let me see. Favorite film I've done to date, and it's a year old. Sunday Brunch Wedding, shot on Sony A7 II, 50 millimeter, 1.4, always on the gimbal. Lots of sniffles in the audio during vows, but I think it's cute. Oh, I like that. I think it's cute too. It was a rainy day, but it held off for outdoor ceremony and started as soon as we were wrapping up portraits. So this is 6 hours of coverage, 6 to 7 minute highlight film with audio included, and a video of raw footage from the ceremony. So you gave them like a lot of stuff, by the way. This better be bad for this price. It's not bad, but ceremony speeches, dances, etc. The pricing at the time was $1,600. I'm assuming she's raised her prices, but man, guys, don't fall into the bullying of pricing though. Like pricing matters, but like at the end of the day, oh no. Oh, well, thank you so much, Jay. I'm glad you attempted. Anyway, if you're doing it, whatever price you charge is great. I mean, think of it this way. If you're shooting like 30 weddings a year at $1,600, that's more than a lot of people make. And so like, don't feel pressured. Do stuff when you're comfortable. We talk about it on the show a lot. If you listen to our podcast every week or watch our show. Have you guys watched the episode with Matt Johnson, by the way? How funny was that episode? That dude is so funny. I love Matt Johnson. Good dude too, man. Great guy. Anyway, but whatever your pricing is, I mean, you know, that's where you are. And like pricing is not the same as good films. Marketing is not the same as good films. We're talking about good films tonight though. So here we go.
Autumn. Today I promise
Clean,
to be a true and
crispy
loving
audio.
companion. I promise to be the best husband that I can be and to commit myself forever to our relationship.
This bride is stunning, by the way. I was going to point out one thing while we're listening. The audio, the ambient audio that you got going, I love it. I love it. I would just like maybe like I always recommend, if you got noisy audio, just get a little capture a little of that sound bed and just don't have the audio ducking in and out between the speeches. Just kind of use those chirping and just, even if it's fake, put it between the chats. That way it doesn't like have that weird ducking effect. Ducking is when you have like sounds going over each other, bouncing in and out. You don't want that. So anyway, let's keep on going.
Shit.
This is
I will
really
be
great
faithful,
film, guys.
honest, loving, trustworthy.
I'm going to keep interrupting it because I like it. Okay. I don't want to be like that guy who says women or men or whatever. One of the things I know from female, there are men who do a great job, but man, there's just this connection that I see when I see a female filmmaker connecting with brides and grooms, especially people who do photography as well, who understand prompts. Getting people to express themselves in a natural way, to emote on camera. It's such a sophisticated skill, and I just always am pulling it out of these films. And I'm watching, like, these people are in, man, I love the way he's playing with their hair. It's so natural. I don't know if it was prompted, but it feels like, I feel like I'm invading a personal moment. I feel like I'm connecting with these people. And I love that I'm connecting with these people. I love the way he's interacting with her. Given, like, some people are more comfortable on camera than others. And so you don't always get this. These people clearly take care of themselves, and it's not the first time they've ever been on camera, all this stuff. But when you look at the way they're engaging with each other, like, this is the goal, right? Can I pull out these people, how they are when I'm not around? Can I pull that out? And I just love this. It's beautiful. I feel connected. It feels intimate.
I will be your partner and best friend for life. I will laugh with you in times of joy, comfort you in times of sorrow. I will share in your dreams to make them real. I will listen to you with compassion and understanding and love you unconditionally. I promise to hold your hand in my hand
Oh, these are good vows.
and hold your head in my hands, to hold your heart in mine. I love you, and you are my wife for all time.
Dylan, growing up, the thought that someone could love me so greatly never crossed my mind. But
I would have liked to see these a little less overexposed. A couple spots throughout this, I've seen the overexposure that I probably would have preferred not to see. It's not heinous. The couple would never notice it, but if you're looking for tips, watch those highlights. They're a little hot.
did God have a plan for me? I was 17 when I met you, and to think that today, 10 years later, here we are. Since we first met, you've supported me in everything that I do. You never hold me back. And most importantly, you always make me feel like I am enough. Your kindness, sincerity, and patience in life are truly unmatched. You're my best friend, my other half, and my soulmate. Today, I promise to love you unconditionally. I promise to support your dreams and inspire you along the way. I promise to share new adventures with you.
Okay, so we don't always get source material like this, guys. So just keep this in mind. So I'm going to say this not to be, everyone needs to be doing this. I'm just going to say in general, when you get a wedding like this, because you all will get a few, this is what you show people. This is connecting with people in an intimate and personal way. I mean, when you don't know, finding out, because you don't know. When you're going into the wedding day, you don't know what they're going to give you. You don't know, are the vows going to suck? You know, are they going to be weird on camera? Like, who knows, right? Obviously, these people had incredible vows. And, you know, you couldn't have known that. But what you did that was great is when you did know that, you said, my film will be about these vows. This is the moment. And this is what editing is, guys. Editing is taking the best parts and weaving the story together. You don't want to be stuck inside of like this narrative framework that you created in your mind. You want to allow the story of the day to feel like it's breathing the emotion of the day. Not so much what happened on that day. They freaking know what happened. They got married. And there are, of course, moments and highlights you want to show. In terms of this emotive sway of the film, you want to be saying what is connecting. What's connecting with me as a filmmaker? What makes me tear up? What makes me connect? And I'm hearing this. I was listening to this, and I was like, this kind of makes me feel a little bit tearing up. Yeah, and I would say Gargot's entertainment. I don't want to see anything more comedic. I don't want to see comedic wedding films at all. So, I mean, some people can do them. Fun is great, but I don't want to see comedic wedding films. They don't sell. You make a comedic wedding film, who's going to want to buy that? Like, we're targeting brides and grooms, of course, but primarily brides. And they don't want to see themselves. There are, of course, fun wedding films. And actually, Bottle Brush is on there in our chat. Maybe they are, maybe they're not anymore. Bottle Brush makes really fun wedding films. You might want to check them out. But I don't want to see funny wedding films. And I will say this format sells a lot. So if you want to make money, this is a great format.
And to realize that your interests and desires are no less important than mine. I promise to be faithful, honest, and forgiving. And lastly, I promise that I'll never actually give Larry, our cat, away.
Oh, you see, brought the relief. Comedic relief.
Thank you.
My only worry in this life is that forever can never.
Ugh. That's how you do it. You get foreground, framing, beautiful skin tones. I don't know how you were prompting them, but you're getting them to be fun. It's good. And I even like the nice little hair light. I mean, that's gold right there.
Be long enough with you. I promise to love you with all my heart for all my days from this moment on.
By virtue of the authority invested in us, we declare that you are husband and wife. You may kiss.
I like that. That's a very subtle push in, but it's nice. I'll pop in on this fun thing that's happening in the chat. Here's my philosophy on wedding films. Wedding films need to be, in my opinion, they're not about me, right? So they're idealized versions of the day. Of course, you have your interpretation as a filmmaker of what you're doing, but they need to reflect your couple and how they felt. They need to be communicating what was going on. So there's an element of fun to a lot of weddings. But the reason why this format is consistently out there, which is like making people connect, is because this is how most people are. Most people getting wedding, it's about romance. It's about traditions. It's about family. It's not an open, like, it's not open for interpretation as much as we would want it to be. And so the key is, how can I take what's being given to me and be respectful of it? And if people are fun and they're giving you fun, then give fun back. If they're giving you craziness, give craziness back. If they're giving you sexy, irreverent, give them that back. But most people are going to show up and they're not going to be putting that out in wedding films. Like, you have to work. And by the way, I think it's a good goal. If you are like, I don't want to do this, then by all means, do whatever you want. Submit it to our wedding film critiques, by the way. But do whatever you want and try to attract that couple. But most couples, they want it to be this way. And that's why. And so I just always caution people, like, to make it don't make it about you. And of course, like, running a good business, it's like, you give the people what the people want. People want romance. They want connection. And most people, they don't want crazy art films. They want to just be pretty looking and have a nice day that makes them remember their nice day. Yeah, as much as you might find that boring, I still love it. I love wedding films. I love weddings, and I'm totally cool with what they are. Although I do have another product that's kind of crazy. So if you want to check out Huxley Film, we do some crazy-ish films. But in general, I make a lot of money shooting films like this. So, and I like money. Good pacing, good shift. Kind of like the fairy sounds. They're moving into the woods. We got the dogs overexposed again. Good taste in music, by the way. I mean, you know, it's wedding music, but I like it. What you're gonna notice in this film a lot is the movements are very subtle, and you can do a lot. And if you're on that 50 and you got that compression, it gives you like a lot more bang for your buck on the parallax. So if you've never done a wedding film, or if you've never shot a gimbal with like a longer than a 35mm lens, I encourage you to try it out because it's really fun. This is what I'm going to say about this. I wish she didn't include it, to be honest. I know why you did. I just hate how it looks. The orange, the blue, it drives me nuts. It's like all this beautiful stuff. I think, though, there's a conversation to be had here, guys, about shooting ugly stuff and putting it in because you have to. We've all been there. I can't speak towards if you had to do this or not. It's just an interesting thing. Like every wedding film has the opportunity to like degrade into shooting people smearing stuff on a crepe. And it's interesting because like you sometimes have to put this stuff in. So my opinion is I don't like this. It's ugly to me. I try not to put anything ugly in a film. That's just what I try to do. But every once in a while you maybe have to. So it's just weird. Like, is this a good shot? No, not really. You know, could it be worse? Definitely. Also, could it have gone in there or not got in there? I don't really know. That being said, sometimes you got to. Like, this is wedding filmmaking. Sometimes you're just shooting people smearing chocolate on a crepe. Crepe. That's good. That's good foreground. That's good use. I'm going to do an editing, just an editing thing. So what this person did, what she did, I'm going to send you, Emily did. I like to see people by their name. What Emily did here is she picked an upbeat song that wasn't hype for people that are just kind of lame dancers. It's good. They're dancing a lot, but it's not like this crazy party vibe. And a lot of times I'm like, people drop songs in the middle of a film and I'm like, dude, these people will never, like, I can't imagine. I like to imagine like, what could they be, look like they're dancing to this song? That's a good rule of thumb I have is like, if the footage doesn't look like they're dancing to that song, don't pick it. Pick a song that it actually looks like something they might dance to in real life and not just like, and this is like good. It's a subdued, upbeat. It's got energy, but it's not too crazy. And so then the dance footage comes on and it feels natural, and it doesn't feel weird. And I love the 50mm. I think that's what she said. Let me double check. I love a 50mm lens. Like to me, I'm a sucker for it. Like you're 35mm on a gimbal, 24mm. The wider you get on your gimbal, the more I'm like, it's dead to me. It's boring. There's a use for it. But in general, I love this 50mm and it looks great. And it really helps with dance footage because you get that isolation and I like it. But I also like the decision you made not to go full hype and you just kept it in the vibe of the couple and the vibe of the day. Even, I'm gonna back that up a little. Even, I'm gonna say, okay, watch this. So what she's about to do, is do with these shoulders, and it's just, this is very sophisticated editing. If you don't do stuff like this, you want to really, how can I make these people look like they're engaging with the song in the film, right? This is sophisticated. If Grace is still here and Andrew, Grace does this really well as an editor. What? Boom, 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 boom. right on beat. Beautiful. Beautiful ending. I like that jump cut, by the way. So I always call this like, I like to look at these ending sections as like epilogues, right? Outside of time, encapsulating the day. So I love it when an editor does this, when they kind of like say, okay, you did this, you did this, you did this, and then they break from chronology. So that's why I would say Gargets. I don't agree that this is a traditional, I see this format. A lot of people screw this up royally. They don't do this. This person brings us into a more of a, maybe you could even say like abstract expression of their love. It's not chronological. It's not a part of the day for them to go in the woods and kiss each other. It's a symbolic section of the day. It's a story element, and you're bringing it back, right? It goes with the music, and it's great, and I love it. Like, it brings the film back to what this is about, which is these people that love each other, best day of their life. Okay, that's fun. I don't like Mustangs, so I don't like this shot. No, I'm just kidding. That's cool, man. For me, that was a really beautiful film. You're a really good shooter, cinematography-wise. I think it's great. Like $1,500 for that. $1,500 for that is a steal. Like, I always see these people are making these films. I'm like, they're coming for me. They're coming for me. They're going to take all my work. Because it's just good. Just good. Really good cinematography. The gimbal motion was nice, clean, slow, very intentional. Everything about the film felt controlled. And maybe that's not your thing. It's kind of my thing, to be honest. I like films that have like intentionality and the person doesn't feel like they're just like, oh, like I could tell when someone's overwhelmed, they're stressed, and they're not into it. I like it when someone's just like, they're having fun. It felt like you were having a good time. You were connecting with these people. It was good. I enjoyed that. So for me, that's what I'll say about that. Yeah, I would agree. It seems like everyone's like driving a Mustang this year. So I got a bunch, cinematography is great. You have a lot to learn there. Like 50 mil, man. Great lens. Like I said, try it out on a gimbal. My favorite thing on a gimbal is a 24-70. And every once in a while, I'll crank that thing to 70. That's an Alex Douglas move, by the way, if you want to be awesome. Alex Douglas is awesome. And of course, that's all you need to do is copy someone's rig, and you can be exactly like them. No, but he does it because you want to get that parallax. If you don't know what a parallax is, it's basically that sense of where the motion of the background is whooshy, and it's more a pronounced motion on the background. You get that from the compression. So the more length you have on the lens, the more of a sense of motion and separation from the background you get when you're doing those parallax rotational moves. And so a lot of people are shooting on 24s only. Excuse me. 24s only, they don't get that sense of motion on their, you can tell it's just kind of like, it's not as cool. But when someone's getting that 50, we changed our rigs a couple years ago to only shoot 50 mil on our gimbal and our portrait work, and I think it leveled our stuff up so much. It looks so much more clean. So I like that. I didn't even feel like a big need for a bunch of other lenses, to be honest, because I felt like you moved around a lot and there's a lot of intentionality. Story, very beautiful. A little bit of audio stuff here and there, like I mentioned, the ducking and things like that, and a few exposure issues, but they didn't really pull me out of the story, so I felt like the story was beautiful. The vows, I think you grabbed the part of the story that was most important. You brought that up forward. So what I really want to talk to you about is, and your editing was really nice. Your editing was really nice. It was clean, maybe a little safe. You might want to explore, kind of thinking, expressing yourself a little more in the edit. But I liked it. It was great. And And I think you could sell the crap out of that. So that's what matters most, right? We're here to run businesses. Artistically, though, I think you should feel the permission to express yourself a little more because I think you have earned the opportunity. Your prices, I would love to know what they are now. If you're not in the chat, I'd love if even email me and let me know. But I'd love to know what they are now because your films are great and better than most people. Really good. And I think, I mean, I always say this is like, if you're a wedding filmmaker, you're making a product that is supposed to mostly appeal to women. And it's not entirely true. You know, we don't want to get into these ideas of who's buying a wedding because a lot of people are buying weddings. But mostly that. And in terms of who you're selling to, it needs to appeal to the person who's the buyer. And like this type of product with this touch to it, this personal touch, I imagine many of the brides who are shopping go wild for something like this. So, and man, I just think you got to have having a ladies touch. We just hired 2 new girls actually this year because I'm so serious about it that I don't make films the way that a female does. I just don't. I don't think. I don't feel like we're like as much as we're all capable of beautiful, brilliant things. I crave that perspective in my films. That's how seriously I take it. So, and when I see it, I think you did a great job. So the next one is from one of our members, Trevor Malloc Media, Malloc. I want to say your name right, man. By the way, so Phil, if I'm saying it wrong, let me know. Malloc Media, Malloc is how I think I should say it. Malloc Media. Great work. A lot of stuff here. What I was gonna say, like one more time, brought to you by Yolobox. Get it today. So we're gonna drop a link for those of you that are looking at live stream. We're gonna do one more film. Thank you so much for hanging out. Like I said, go ahead. Feel free to hit the likes on there. But yeah, we got this here. It even actually, Bobby was talking about one of the things he'll put like rings on it and do like ring shots because it's very reflective black. But it's great if you want to get into live streaming. 2 HDMI inputs, 4G, all the stuff. It also has a nice little recorder on it. This thing is dope and it's a good price. We have a really good offer down there. I did want to remind you guys, secret code. So I'm not even going to post the link again. You can scroll up. This secret code is here. If you're watching later, this secret code will not work for you people who do not watch live. So we're going to get rid of it after tonight. So this is your one chance to enter into the secret code giveaway. If you didn't get it, by the way, if there's, I didn't test it to be honest. So if you didn't get the email, let me know. Email us over at contact@weddingfilm.school and say, I didn't get it. I didn't get the code. And we will be sure to get it to you guys. Unless you weren't watching live. And I'll know. I will know. But let's watch our last film. Trevor Malloc. How you doing, buddy? Having a good night? You guys like the jams? I keep asking and everybody's not responding, so I think people don't like the music. All right. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you
nice
ready?
Power intro. Okay, I want to go to something. This is going to be more of like an editing pro tip here. Check it out. So there's a post zoom, not a post, I mean like a zoom, and you're doing this like power intro thing. My opinion is when you're doing a power intro like this, I would post stabilize the crap out of this gimbal push because it's all fake looking anyway. Malloc Media did a nice little power intro. So I'm going to show you the gimbal push on the door. It's a little shaky. I would have stabilized it because when you're doing something this quick, you can't really notice it. And so it's more important to me that it's be exactly what I want. And I might even put a little like a dolly zoom effect on it. Anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready?
Right here.
Tyler kept wondering if she was interested in him. And he'd say things like, we talk a lot, but she's kind of out of my league. I'm like his friend, so I was like, come on, dude, look at you. You're absolutely correct.
A couple years ago, we got pulled backstage at a Luke Bryan concert, and about half an hour
This
into
is
it,
fun,
she
by the
actually
way.
walks up to Luke Bryan and tells him he has something on his shirt. He looks down, and she boops him in the nose. He starts cracking up laughing. I'm like, oh, we're gonna get kicked out. Like, that was fun while it lasted.
So there's some ugly skin tones. By the way, sorry. But here's what I will say. I really, really like the inclusion of these fun stories, and you know, I'm not sure I would have went right into the narrative of it personally with this song. I might have like done more of like a 30-second power intro thing and then cut to maybe, I don't know. I think there's something to be said for kind of like keeping that tempo and that craziness, because it's like the first 10 seconds are like, bam, oh, this is gonna be a crazy film, you know? And then it kind of just goes into the film, and it's like I'm thinking the song's gonna cut. That's maybe personal. I don't know. I was watching it and I was like, actually when I was watching it the first time, I forgot about the intro. And then I was watching it and I was like, this is a weird song to be using over this footage. So it kind of feels like we ran out of steam a little bit. Maybe that's what it is. So I like the idea of, I'll always advocate for like power intros and then shifting gears so that your song is appropriate with the footage you have. Although, that being said, I love the sound selections that you chose, because they really do bring a lot of personality to the couple. So I love that.
That's it.
He can't do it. It looks good. I like it.
This is as good as it gets.
So there's just a lot of overexposed footage here, a lot of it. So just, you gotta watch that. Like, it looks a little less overexposed, by the way, on the internet, but on my screen over here, it looks very overexposed. So, you know, just the thing.
He's got to get the real deal out.
I don't love that handheld stuff either. Kind of shaky, that you were doing on the car. It's kind of just, I wouldn't have included it. Misfit. You know what? That could be fun. Go ahead and submit something, and just in the comments on the submission, just say, hey, I'm not a wedding filmmaker. Just so I can, you know, I want to make sure it's appropriate for what we do. I would say especially if it's under 5 minutes, I think that would be cool. So, and by the way, you definitely should be getting into wedding films. You definitely should be listening to the Wedding Film School show on wherever podcasts are provided or released every Tuesday on our YouTube channel. You definitely should become a wedding filmmaker, because you can make a great living. It's a lot of fun. And you get to, I mean, I'm a big fan. You should become a wedding filmmaker, and not just based on your work. Go second with somebody else. Make it happen. But feel free to submit. Feel free to submit. So let's keep going.
So Larissa and Tyler met at AJ's bar in Benson. She
Like,
was
that transition was a
bartending,
little
and
weird.
Tyler thought, wow, this girl, she is something. And Larissa always talked to Tyler. She dropped subtle hints here and there.
Good voice
caught
again,
on.
though.
Good thing we got wingman Matt. I was like, dude, she totally likes you. Tyler finally asked Larissa if she wanted to go out sometime to another bar. A different bar for some different drinks.
My opinion, that's a cool shot, by the way. I would have liked to see maybe I saw them and I missed them. I feel like I haven't seen the person delivering the speech. So I'm having a hard time. Like, are they actually reacting to her? Like, is this lady giving a speech? I personally don't like not seeing the person delivering the speech at least a couple times while they're delivering it. It's a little bit personal preference, but I do think there's a storytelling rule there, which is like, you want a person to connect with people. You don't want anything to be like a disembodied voice. So I think like showing the person, especially early when they're talking, I find it a little off-putting when I'm like hearing someone just giving a speech and I don't know who it is. Maybe I saw it, but I don't recall seeing it, and it wasn't prevalent enough for me.
She's always been a very hard worker. Not that she needs to, but she just does. Then I remember one day she gets home and he had mowed her lawn without her asking. He had just surprised her because she was working so much. And that's when I thought, oh no, he's a serial killer.
Tyler chased Larissa down for a while, and finally, I think she just woke up and was like, man, he is the guy of my dreams, for sure. The Ken to her Barbie. Absolutely.
What's going on there? Let's go pixel peep a little bit. Is that you operating your drone in there? This drone stuff, I can take it or leave it. Maybe I would have done like a pew, 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 used it and like sped it up, speed ramped it, included it in that crazy beginning. Here to me, it doesn't do much for me though. But you can use if you're gonna do these crazy power intros, you can actually use like mediocre footage if it has good motion, and you speed it up and you could do some crazy stuff with it. So
The Ken to her Barbie. Absolutely.
So cute. Hey.
So I really don't like this song here. I really don't like it. Like this guy's literally crying. I wouldn't have made this choice. I would have tried to make what I was doing affect it. Also, I think your saturation is just a little over the top throughout the whole film because these greens are like neon looking. His skin tone is red. Like this is just a thing I see in a lot of people's films is they want it to be vibrant, and so they're just pushing the colors maybe a little too hard, or they put a LUT on that wasn't designed for Rec 709, that was designed for log, and it just makes things look neon and like in a non-flattering way. So, anyway, yeah.
And it was about 3 months in that Tyler and Larissa both knew that this was something pretty special.
So overexposed.
It was just kind of a comfort whenever they were around each other. They found themselves telling each other things that they just wouldn't share with anybody else. And Larissa realized that she would be protected and her heart would always be safe with Tyler.
Also, personal preference on some level. I am not into showing every person walking down the aisle. I'm like the type of person when I edit a film, I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. I do want to be connected with the couple. And so at the end of the day, if a couple wants that, but if I don't think they want it, I don't put it in there just because I think I have to. And I don't think you should either. I don't think anyone should edit that way. I think you should not be putting things in because you have to. You should be putting them in because it works and it's the right decision. And, if you don't think the couple wants it and you just slap in every person walking out, I just think, I don't really like that. It's not my favorite. It's just kind of boring. That kid is awesome. Yeah, again, we're not connecting with the gravity of the film. This song is not the right song. And also so overexposed. And maybe you couldn't have done much about that, by the way, because it's that terrible gazebo, the worst idea in the world. Gazebos, I hate them with an unabiding passion. We always we're like, oh, you're getting married in a gazebo? Great. Can we have you step out of it? So, because you just get situations like this where you just have an unmitigated disaster in your exposure. You can't fix it. And it's really challenging. It's not your fault. But I do think the song decision of this cranking, need it, want it, you're driving, this dude's crying and they're slowly walking. I want to lean in a little. And if you say that's boring, whatever, hey, do whatever you want. If people are into it, they're into it. My opinion is I want the footage to connect with the song. As a musician myself, this is making me feel like we're not in the same universe. I'm watching a different film with a different song, especially considering the first 10 seconds are so dope and you have this awesome font, all this stuff, and then it kind of moves and, hey, keep it up, by the way. I'm glad you tried something different because you're going to get better. And there's a lot of shots of them coming down the aisle. It's like taking a really long time to get them down the aisle.
Larissa, you're everything to Tyler, and he's so happy you agreed to share your life with him. You are beautiful, you're kind, you're smart, you're funny. You were like no other he has ever met in his life. You push him to be his best. You make life better because you're in it, and you make his successes worth it.
I vow to protect you from spiders as long as we both shall live. I promise to put down the toilet seat and to replace the toilet roll when it's empty. And to never ever forget our wedding anniversary or your birthday. Give me your worst days and I will give you my love to make it all right. I vow to ask to get permission before making any more jet ski.
This is a pet peeve of mine. Is off-axis gimbal moves. I don't like it. I always notice it. I hate it when I do it. It makes me furious at myself. It is hard to do. I get it. But it's just something I'll always encourage you. Just try to if you want someone to be off-axis on your parallax rotation, fine. But if not, maybe try getting them in the center and getting your gimbal tuned the way you want to get the motion you want. Usually someone's gimbal is slower than the way they want to move, or spend time to get that gimbal to just be your second hand and get it to work exactly the way you expect it to work. And your shots will be more consistently exactly framed the way you want. Because that's the challenge with the gimbal is it's not you. So if it reacts faster or slower than you, I think that's one of the things. What do you guys think? What's your thoughts on just gimbal usage and getting that thing to be? Do you guys know what I'm saying when a gimbal is off axis? Anybody else struggle with that where you're just doing your rotation and it's kind of just kicking off over there off in a bad way? While everybody's here, by the way, go ahead and hit the like button. I would love it if you guys can hit that like button. It means a lot to us. And go ahead. We'd love you guys to join. If you want to join a membership at Wedding Film School, we have a bunch of cool stuff, members only stuff, members only Zoom chats, members only private Facebook group, and of course, members get preference on the just in their film submissions. So if you want to get guaranteed to get your films reviewed, become a member.
Purchases.
Trevor's a member.
I will be imperfect. I vow to be there to support all your dreams.
Tyler, you are Larissa's best friend, and she is so excited to finally call you her husband.
See, I really like the clips you used.
She knows her heart's always going to be protected by you. She can't think of a single person she would rather have by her side for the rest of her life. You bring out the best in her. You make her laugh from sunup to sundown, and you make her feel like the most beautiful woman in the world.
T, I vow to always appreciate your ridiculous sense of humor as it makes the hard days better and the good days more fun. I promise to remember that neither one of us is perfect, but will strive to remind myself of the ways that we're perfect for each other. I vow to be there for you during the hard times, and although I can't fix all your problems, I will promise you that you won't have to face them alone. I vow to be patient with you every time you destroy the garage while working on stuff. I promise to forgive you when you buy more toys than we have room for. And I vow to love you for regardless whatever hairstyle you have.
So one of the things when you're dealing with, which this is a great shot, by the way. Well, not great, but it's good. It's a good story shot. Because clearly that was a cool car. They did that, all that stuff. Just I'll always remind you guys, you gotta watch those skin tones, getting them to be flattering, and that magenta push that happens on people's skin tones is something to keep in mind that you gotta notice.
It is my privilege as a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, I pronounce you husband and wife. Tyler, you may kiss your bride.
See, I like where you're headed here. So, couple thoughts there. I think one of the biggest things I notice is whenever you allow that film to breathe. Oh, I got a serial killer there. She was right. I don't like that face. Well, this was a good one. We'll stop it on a good face. So one of the things. One of the things I liked is when you kind of did into as much slow-mo and you let the film just breathe. And if you had to make that film that length to sell it, okay, I think that film really shined when you kind of leaned into your vision a little more and you had footage that worked. The only thing I'll say in general is this could be true. I'm not sure. It seems like you wanted to make one film, but the wedding day wanted to be another film. Like this was a very traditional barn wedding, all this stuff. And you got this hype and this swagger to it, like a Henry Martin's kind of thing. Hopefully maybe a Huxley film thing if you've ever watched What We Do. No, probably not. It's a Henry Martin's thing, which is great. He's a great filmmaker. And I'm not sure the day was right for it. And so that's maybe why it kind of like, when you had those moments, it kind of, it really shined. But then when it kind of slowed down and you kind of just, it wasn't pushing you that hard and it didn't give you what you wanted, it felt like you didn't know what to do with it a little bit, and you're kind of bringing these songs that were a little out of place with people crying, being somber, all this stuff. So I don't know there. I don't want to say that you should have done one thing or the other thing with your editing in terms of, I'd have a suspicion though that you really wanted to edit a film like your intro and your outro. That's the film you wanted to make, and the middle of the film didn't agree. And maybe you don't know how to make that. Maybe it was challenging, or maybe the day just wasn't right for it. I don't know. You can do a bunch of things there. So this is my suggestion. A, segmenting your films into chapters, at least in your mind, where you're like, this is the crazy part, and then I'm going to let it be traditional, and then I'm going to let it be crazy. Okay, that's one way to do it. That works really well. Another way to do it is like, you know, just shoot it differently. If you know you want to make a crazy film, like shoot it to match. So anyway, let's talk cinematography. A lot of overexposure. Like this stuff kills me right here when you're right there. Now, given it's really tricky. Oh crap, I lost it. I'll get there, I'll find it. Yeah. The stuff you're getting to in the ceremony is when you have this yellowish background. That's just when your sensor's like, I'm out of room. I'm overexposed. That yellow grass look that you get. I probably would have tried to not. I wouldn't have included so much of it because I always tell people, like, I can't find it. I keep skimming by it. Like, there it is. Got it. Okay, so let's look at that grass. That grass is way overexposed. The people, there's plenty of room to drop the exposure, by the way. Like, if you were to drop that exposure to make that grass not so distractingly yellow and overexposed. And one thing to keep in mind is sensors render color differently depending on the ISO that you're at. And so when something's overexposed, it tends to only pick up like the yellows really are usually standing out a lot. Green, look how much the underexposed green, how it looks a lot more green. That grass, which grass has a lot of yellow in it, to be honest. But it's going to really shine and it's going to just be very unflattering. Everything is overexposed. That people's hair is overexposed. The officiant's face is overexposed. The grass is overexposed. Like, I'll just keep saying, nail your exposures, guys. This is, no offense, like, I don't really think you should be worrying about power intros until you can nail your exposure. I don't agree, Curry. Those heads are good. Those heads are good because it gives you a sense of depth. You're not typing too much, by the way. I love your contributions. You're doing awesome. But I would just say I don't agree with you. I like the sense of depth. I just don't like the fact that the shot's terribly overexposed. The other thing I'll always tell people is, like, a great tip is to get a long lens, a 7200 2.8, something like that. If you have one of those and you just, especially when your exposure sucks, you punch that in, especially if you can have an ND and you just fuzzy out the background and nobody will care anymore. You know, when you have like tough lighting situations, a really nice long lens will really help you. But I think in terms of the cinematography decision you made in camera, I don't think it's the right decision. You should have dropped your exposures throughout this ceremony. Because, yeah, it's very unflattering. And the light is tough. But I think you could have went down to, like 2 stops and it would have been fine still. So audio, I like the audio a lot. Let's go to editing because sorry, I'm all over the place. The power intro is dope. The power outro is dope, and you got some chops there, and you did even you did some whips. You did some different stuff like that I really enjoyed. I liked your font at the beginning. I liked the song choice. I liked the way it hit on the beat. All this stuff. I think the middle of that film was really struggling in terms of like I said before, it just didn't match what the songs you chose. It didn't hit the same way. It just felt like it really slowed down. So maybe trying to find a way to if you're going to slow down the film in the editing, which is something I do sometimes, I'll sometimes do a 30-second power intro and then I'll really slow, like cold water, thing. And I think that works fine to just totally pull the rug out from someone with your edit. Doing that is great. And I think that maybe would have been a better choice here. Big power intro, cram a couple more sexy shots in the beginning, 30 seconds, and then just really bring it down and let the day slow down. And then when your footage kind of ramps it up a little bit, then you bring back some power, you bring back some hype later in the day. That maybe would have been the editing choice I made from a story standpoint. I loved your audio choices, though. They were really good, really personal. I felt like I got to know the couple. I do think they seemed uncomfortable with being filmed. I'm not sure what to say there. There's a little a quirkiness and uncomfort level. That's not necessarily your fault. Maybe that's just who they were. But I did notice that. And I felt like I didn't really feel like they were really connecting. They felt like that dude did not want to be on camera. He was not wanting to be on camera. And hey, that happens sometimes. But other than that, I don't want to say it's a great film because it really isn't. And I've seen a lot of your other work. You can do a lot better. But I will say this. You did do some things that were really good. Like that power intro, that power outro. That's something to build on. It's something to build on. If you're wondering, can I do this? Can I shoot this way? Can I edit? You can. You can do it. You did it successfully. I think you got to figure out how do you implement that into your editing, into how you shoot your films. But I would say this, I think you stumbled onto something. And if you like shooting films like that, trying to find a way, okay, this was you nailed a couple parts, but the rest are going to fall a little flat because this couple, the next couple you show this to, a really hype couple isn't going to like this film because the couple's not really hype, and a really traditional couple isn't going to like this film. So now the secret is, can you find a couple that will let you shoot the exact film you want, exactly how you want throughout the whole day? And that's not necessarily really editing. That's me more giving you a business tip. And creatively, I want you to feel like you succeeded at this in terms of trying something that was a little edgier. And I would say that is probably why you submitted it. And that I think was successful. And I think you do need to keep pushing yourself in that direction. And just because the rest wasn't exactly perfect doesn't mean that the thing you did that was maybe a risk. I'm glad you took the risk. I'm sure the couple loved it. And you did a lot of those things successfully. So I want to say good job. If you are on our live stream, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Again, YOLO Live. They are the makers of the Yolobox. They're our subscriber. We love you guys. Wedding Film School community. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for just hanging out with us. We've had a little crazy time over here. Been very busy. But like I said, fell into BTS on Saturday, so we're going to start cranking out BTS content. We got some really cool reviews coming for Teradek, for a bunch of other products out there that we're working on. Kind of dropping a video for the new Rode firmware update that came out that kind of fixed the Rode Go 2. If you haven't checked that out, check it out. But man, we're just grateful. We love you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys make Wedding Film School awesome. We love it. And if you don't listen to the podcast, check it out. We're here live every week, every Thursday night. And we got this great Facebook group you can join. A lot of helpful people over there. Again, we have memberships. If you want to become a member, I think it starts at $5. And that really helps us a lot if you want to become a member. And of course, we got super chats if you want to help the channel a little bit. But the best way to help the channel is just to buy stuff. So if you have stuff you want to buy, we got all pretty much the cameras and the lenses and the stuff that we think you would want down in our comments. And if you want to help out the channel, we get very small amount, but it helps us out a lot. Thank you guys so much. You guys are an incredible community, and we love getting to serve you guys, hang out with all of you guys and gals all the time. Wedding Film School, you're the best. See you on the flip side.